Let's just dive right into this. Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're doing a really deep literary dive into a super evocative track by Blopix, which is literally just titled New Music. And on the surface, sure, it might just sound like your standard atmospheric late night anthem. But man, there is a completely profound psychological narrative hiding right there in the lyrics. So today, we're going to unpack the psychology behind what I like to call the midnight drift. Since our source material is pretty brief, we're going to take an outside-in approach for this explainer. We'll kick things off with the midnight atmosphere, then move into demons in the mind, explore the ghost in the mirror, and finally wrap up with chasing unattainable peace. Basically, we're moving straight from the physical isolation of the car right down into the deep psychological depths of the artist's mind. Part 1, the midnight atmosphere, setting the scene. Let's establish that dark vibe and the slow, knocking beat that kicks off the track. Blopix opens with these lines: midnight ride, slow narking, midnight drift, shadows on my eyes. Right away, notice how we are instantly grounded in this incredibly shadowy, isolated physical space. It's dark, right? It's highly rhythmic, and our vision is already being completely obscured by these shadows. It's like we aren't just listening to a song anymore, we are literally shoved into the passenger seat of this midnight ride. And the way the artist builds this environment is through a total barrage of really specific sensory inputs. We've got smoke rolling, which creates this heavy visual haze. We can actually feel the bass under me, like a physical vibration in the chest. There are flickering streetlights, that sudden super jarring sound of tires screeching, and then that beautiful but kind of melancholic image of neon lights falling like rain. Put it all together, and it builds this environment that somehow feels absolutely vast, but at the exact same time, suffocatingly claustrophobic. And this brilliantly illustrates the really powerful duality operating throughout the whole track. Think about it. Externally, we have this harsh, cold city sitting beneath a black, completely starless sky, filled with bright neon lights and screeching tires. But internally, there is a totally numb heart, all these mixed up truths, actual demons, and this overwhelming feeling of being completely out of control. The physical setting is really just a giant mirror reflecting all that internal turmoil. Moving on to part 2, demons in the mind, where the cold city meets the cold mind. This is where the sheer psychological weight of the drive really starts to set in. Just consider the wild juxtaposition in these lyrics. City cold, demons in my mind, smoke rolling, vision getting low, heart so numb, but I never move slow. The narrator's heart is entirely numb. They are emotionally paralyzed, and yet their physical momentum just never stops. I never move slow. It perfectly represents this incredibly dark emotional current that's just relentlessly carrying the narrator forward. You see, they aren't driving with purpose anymore. They are being driven by a compulsion they absolutely cannot stop. Later in the track, the artist actually says they feel the undertow. Now, literally defined, an undertow is a strong current below the surface of the water that moves in a totally different direction from the surface current. But let's subvert that literal definition just for a second. Because in the context of our explainer today, the undertow is actually this immense psychological pull. It's the voices talking that the artist hears without any sound. It's the demons dragging the artist down mentally into the depths, even while they're still just cruising forward physically on the surface. Which brings us right to this highly contradictory lyric, feeling alive, feeling half dead. It just so perfectly captures the core duality of existing in this bizarre, midnight, totally numb state. The physical act of driving fast, the screeching tires, that heavy bass, all of that makes them feel alive. But the numbness, the demons, the endless stretching night, that leaves them feeling completely half dead. It's honestly like a state of purgatory, just rolling along on 4 wheels. Part 3, the ghost in the mirror, the loss of identity. The speed is really picking up now, and we start to see this terrifying unraveling. Let's see how this all builds through 3 very distinct phases in the track. Step 1, we start with engine on me low. The driver is right there in the seat, feeling the machine, seemingly totally in control of both the vehicle and the night itself. Then, step 2, the realization hits, lost, so yeah, I'm out of control. The grip is officially slipping. That external momentum we talked about has completely overpowered their internal will. And finally, step 3 brings us to total detachment, culminating in that chilling line, ghost in the mirror. We've literally tracked the narrator from actively driving the car to becoming completely and totally detached from their own physical reflection. Let's look really closely at that lyric for a second. Ghost in the mirror, I don't recognize too many truths mixed up with lies. If we treat this like a piece of modern poetry, this specific phrase acts as the ultimate, heartbreaking realization of an identity crisis. The physical and mental worlds have completely blurred together at this point. The narrator looks up into the rearview mirror and they don't even see themselves anymore. They just see a ghost, this strange apparition made out of mixed up truths and lies. They've essentially become a passenger inside their own mind. And the absolute tragic irony of this moment is captured perfectly right here. Streetlights flick a guide my way, but I don't know if I should stay. Think about that. The physical world is literally lighting up a path. It's offering this glowing guide forward to the dark city, but it's totally useless. Why? Because the internal compass is just entirely broken. The narrator isn't lost in the city at all. They are completely lost in themselves.
Part 4, Chasing Unattainable Peace, the Futile Resolution. The energy shifts here, going straight from pure chaos into this haunting, really tragic sense of acceptance.
Now, what's really interesting here is the phrase, king nothing. The lyric goes, speed it up, then I slow it down, king nothing when I win no crown. All that erratic, crazy driving, it's ultimately meaningless. Even if they somehow master the road perfectly, they win no crown. And why? Because the demons they're so desperately racing against are sitting right there in the car with them. So the crucial point is really summarized in this frankly devastating final realization: just a shadow in the night, chasing peace I'll never find. The overarching theme is just completely laid bare for us. The narrator has accepted their fate. They are no longer a person driving a car, they are merely a shadow. And the entire Midnight Drift, it's just this endless, looping pursuit of a resolution, a peace that they openly, tragically admit is impossible to achieve. Which leaves us with this final, lingering thought derived straight from Blobix's haunting lyrics. If peace is a chase we never win, why do we keep driving? It's a pretty profound question about human nature, our incredibly restless pursuits, and those dark, emotional undertows we all fight in the middle of the night. Well, thank you so much for joining me on this deep dive into the Midnight Drift. Keep exploring the deeper meaning behind what you listen to, and I will see you all in the next explainer.